Hello everyone, so today we're gonna have a look at the fog of war in Stronghold Crusader and if and how they would implement it if they were going to do so. So, why am I making this video? Well, they did a recent feedback forum and they actually had some questions about fog of war, so this really interested me. Well, this led me to thinking, hey, how would they implement something like fog of war into Stronghold, which is usually reserved for other games like Age of Empires? So first of all, I thought to myself, have we seen Fog of War before from Firefly? And I asked around and I got an answer, and it was actually Stronghold 3. In Stronghold 3 we actually have day and night cycles, but we also have weather patterns, and we have something called fog. So when it gets foggy, you actually gain Fog of War. So this is a very unique mechanic, and I think it's one of the most interesting ways to add it. But I don't think they're going this route, sadly. And I think they're just gonna add a generic Fog of War on it. No shame in that, because, well, frankly, it's a completely different game, and they would have to add day and night cycles in, and they would have to add a bunch of textures. I think it's just too much work. So if they were gonna do it, I don't think they're going this route, and they would probably just stick to something more like Age of Empires. Currently, Age of Empires is in an absolute great state. It has a strong player base, it has a healthy development, they keep adding DLCs. It also has great esports, which have tons of prizes. It's going fantastic pretty much. So this is kinda what Stronghold wants to be. But before we get into glazing Age of Empires 2 too much, let's actually look at how they do the Fog of War themselves. So, you start with a scout. Now, this is really important because in Stronghold you don't actually get a beginning scout unit. You actually start with some units. But for now, let's go with the horse. What do you do with the horse? You go explore the enemy base. Now, when you're on the way to the enemy base, you're looking for goats, you're looking for relics, you're looking for gold veins that the enemy has. You're looking to just explore the world a little bit because it's randomly generated. And those are some fundamental things which make scouting great in Age of Empires 2. It makes everything feel very useful when you're going around, you're actually serving a purpose by actually exploring. And for example, Crusader, we currently do not have Fog of War, but we also lack some of these fundamental things. Like for example, we don't have relics, we don't have resources that actually are finite. We do have some, but for example, iron and stone, you can keep mining those indefinitely. You also have, for example, no goats that are around, so you can't bring them back. So you lose a little bit of that exploration feeling. We also have the problem of starting with a bunch of units in Crusader. So if you don't know, you can actually select how many beginning units you have in Crusader by clicking on this little button in the skirmish mode and setting how much. Well, that has to go if we're gonna add Fog of War, because else you start with 20 units, you immediately explore the whole map and you're done. So my proposal for Stronghold to adapt something, and that's one thing I would add, it's called the scout. So pretty much we're just gonna add one unit. Yeah, it kind of just looks like an archer, but we just remove the bow, right? So it's just an archer, it can walk around, but it can't shoot anything, it's useless. It can just scout. I don't know if it should be killed by lions or not, but because we have those a lot. But either way, we just have one starting unit. Now, of course, there's the other issue. Hey, in Crusader, you can just make a barracks and just build a bunch of torch guys, and you can also explore the map already. Now, I wouldn't change that. I would maybe just increase maybe the cost of placing a barracks down, and you have to force people to invest a little bit to have the amount of scouting, because you can just instantly click units, right? And you instantly get them. But in Age of Empires, you have to wait a minute before you get one unit out. Now, I don't think we should change that, but I think we should just maybe like bump the cost up for like a barracks to like 40 wood. So it's like a real investment. Now, another thing is randomized maps. In Stronghold, we do not have randomized maps. We could have, but we're probably not going to, and that would require so much work and stuff. So I think they're never gonna touch that ever. We do have some unbalanced maps and we do have balanced maps. And we also have the issue of those maps just kinda being able to be read from memory, right? So if you have a memorized map, it's very important to know, hey, this resource is there, this resource is over here, etc, etc. This is something we kinda lack in Stronghold, so it's probably not gonna be the greatest game to adapt Fog of War for. But they could do something interesting, which I kinda would like. It's actually putting a resource number on, like, for example, if you're getting stone and you've placed it down, eventually throughout the game it's gonna deplete. That is what I would like to see. Also for iron. So resources become like a finite thing and the game kinda can't go on forever. Now, I don't know how hard it would be to implement this. Like, for example, you just place one down and eventually it just depletes. I don't know how hard it is, but it might be a good like multiplayer thing that could be fun. Now, I'm not saying like get whole randomized maps and so on, because you know that's a whole balance on its own. But like that might be a good suggestion for multiplayer. And it's not like we don't have finite resources in Stronghold. Like for example, we have wood that can run out. We also have food, like meat. If you hunt too much deer, you can also run out of stuff. So it's not unheard of. Now, just to clarify, all these suggestions are kinda just for multiplayer, and I don't really want them in the base single player. I kinda like it the way it is, and I don't think it should be touched too much. Now, I've also heard that sadly Firefly is not gonna do a ranked mode, which I kinda had envisioned for this video, kind of, when I was writing it, but they came out with a video saying, hey, there's not gonna be a ranked mode, it's gonna be leaderboards. In my secret hope, maybe they could eventually do a multiplayer update, which kinda just spruces stuff up and actually like gives multiplayer a step forward. I'm sure there's like probably a community that still plays Stronghold multiplayer out there somewhere, but frankly it's not big. And that's the thing why I'm kinda sad they don't want to add ranked, because, well, frankly, to make a game like this survive, you need a strong, healthy multiplayer community, like Age of Empires. Like, Age of Empires 2 has absolutely stayed alive on like something called Foobly, and they pretty much made it all the way to like the modern day, where Xbox has kinda bought them and released their definitive edition, and it absolutely blew up. It's insane how well they did, and that was all because of a very strong multiplayer like PvP community that still played. This is why I think they should reconsider maybe making a ranked mode, maybe making a like a multiplayer update, especially to like balance the game a little bit and actually make it a fun game to play. Because, well, Age of Empires still gets regular updates and new civs, and honestly I've seen what Stronghold Crusader did with the new units, which makes me think, hey, they can touch like the base game kinda. So I'm not too afraid to ask for a bit more, because obviously this is their flagship title. This is their Age of Empires 2, in a sense, right? So this is their baby. Stronghold Crusader, absolutely everyone loves this game, and I think they should like nurse it. They shouldn't like immediately move on to the next project. They should like support it a little bit going forward, and not just think, oh yeah, now we're done, we got the money, let's go on to our next project and let's forget about Crusader. So ultimately it's up to Firefly to implement all of these things. I have no influence on them whatsoever. Um, Pretty much I just enjoy thinking about these like random questions. I kinda just thought, hey, Fog of War, how would this look like in Crusader? What would be the issues that you could face, and how the heck would they change it if they did it? So this is kind of just my little ramblings on Fog of War. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you liked it, give it a like and subscribe.